And we are back. This is SD, and we're going to start another attempt at the cycle today. Last time out, we lost in game number 13 with the classic Kestrel. We were having a very, very strong run. I felt extremely comfortable, and then we were undone by the first ship in Sector 4, which is something that has happened to me before, although it's an uncommon thing. Since I started tracking my games with the FTL Save Manager, that's the first time, which is about 90 games ago, that's the first time that's happened to me. I have had it in the past, where just because Sector 4 there's a difficulty spike, sometimes the first ship, it high rolls, and the ship that we fought that ended our Kestrel had the highest level shields that it could, the highest level weapons that it could, and it had the highest level hack that it could. It didn't have the highest evade or piloting that it could. Those were actually minimum, but the other systems are more relevant. And not only did it high roll all of its stuff, it high rolled it in an asteroid field, and a series of events happened in the fight, which I've refought that fight using the FTL Save Manager at least 25 times now, and I have not lost a single other time. So it doesn't feel like that outcome was extremely probable, but there were definitely things I could have done that would have saved us from it, particularly getting weapons 5. I do think it was defensible to not do that, because we had a beacon that could have been a store right next to us, and we were 27 scrap short of, we had 123 scrap. If we get one medium scrap payout in Sector 4 on hard is 21 to 35 scrap. On average, that should give me enough to buy cloaking, if it's there. And if we buy cloaking, we win that run. We absolutely 100% win. So I do feel like it was defensible to not take the upgrades that would make us, marginally safer in the very rare versions of that fight. I obviously didn't know that particular fight would be there. There are Sector 4 ships that can be very, very dangerous. And there are definitely some that are more dangerous than that. Like, I don't feel like that was the most dangerous ship. I would be far more worried about, say, a double drone ship in that situation. Say somebody has a combat drone and a beam drone, and I don't know, a burst laser 1, a heavy laser, and a mini beam. That's a feasible setup to roll in Sector 4, and would probably beat us more times out of 100 than the ship that actually killed us. But regardless, you only play the game once, and we played it once and we lost, so we have to go back to the start. I have no idea what ship we're going to play this time. There's our record. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, we're playing Federation A. We only played this quite recently on the last streak, and it was a horrendously awful start. I hope we have a better one this time. We had the shield hack event on the very first jump the last time we played, and then after we got to the shield hack event, we had a horrendous rigger ship in an asteroid field that, had it used its weapons properly, would have killed us, but it didn't. And we managed to struggle back. Hopefully, this run will not be as difficult as that. That was a run where actually we were never able to get cloaking. We actually had to end the entire run with just hacking in the artillery. We never got a third system, because I was holding out for cloaking and it never turned up when we had the scrap. Let's get my people into position. So I want you on piloting. I want you on engines. No, don't put you on shields. Put you on doors. I won't do too long a spiel about this ship, because I've literally just played it. I don't like this ship very much, and I don't think it's very good, but it's not completely terrible, because it does have a burst laser too. And it has reasonable crew as well. We've got a big nebula to go through, and the exit isn't a good location, so that is not bad. Let's make sure everything is tracking. Yes, it is indeed. Let's go here and then up into the nebula, and we'll just try to get shields 4 as soon as possible. I'll do what I was going to do last time, and then in the early battles, I forgot to end up doing it. I'm going to vent my O2 down. I think this gets it to exactly 50%, and I can then vent below 50%. In fact, I can put my Mantis... Well, I'll save them there, and I can always run them to sensors. I can basically do some... I won't actually micropause, because I haven't got the keyboard that I can actually do that on, and I'm not going to bother doing it for Fed A. But, I can literally just open that door and vent it a little bit, or even just turn the O2 off, frankly. Yeah, I don't only need that off for a moment. And that gets it down so that they might target my O2 instead of another system. Ideally, particularly weapons, which is where you're very, very vulnerable on this ship. I don't like this asteroid field in the very first fight. And those are dangerous weapons. Let's turn my O2 down very briefly. Well, that's very, very bad. Go and fix that, please. Get everyone but the rock in there. Okay, fortunately we took all their weapons out. We're gonna get hit once or twice, I think, here by asteroids. Oh, no, maybe not. Okay, we got hit once there. It's fine. It hit a blank room. 2 can play at that. Okay, that was a mistake. They're gonna get another missile off on me because I foolishly fired at there. They probably have an NG over there. Well, asteroids taketh and asteroids giveth. And there, the asteroid helped. It doesn't really make up for what happened in the Kestrel A run. What I didn't realize at the time in that fight where we died on Kestrel A, the volley that we fired at them, the one full volley we got off, one of our heavy laser shots hit an asteroid on the way over, which is why we didn't do any damage. Well, it's the main reason we didn't do any damage. They also had pretty good dodge. They dodged but another shot of ours and an asteroid aimed at them. But like altogether, the asteroid effectively gave them 4 shield bubbles. Let's go through this nebula now. There's a store there. We have no reason to go there. I mean, I suppose if we get like a double reward at one of these, maybe. But we have nothing to sell, and we'd really like to just get our shields up. Attack the pirates. Good lord, this ship is much more dangerous than us. Like, this is a fight where I really wish I had Kestrel A's Artemis missile. I mean, we might knock this off. Or they might dodge everything. But fortunately, we got good dodges too. But like, this is a much... I mean, it's clearly a better weapon setup than what we have, because it has literally the same weapon as us and something else. Fortunately, they did not line up there. I actually should have run my Mantis into shields. As long as I can keep the burst 2 down, we're safe. And eventually, the artillery beam is going to do something in this fight. It's going to go off now. It might hit like 3 rooms. No, it hit 4 there. That's not bad. And they actually took their evade out because they only have level 1 piloting. So we killed them with this. That was an actually good artillery shot. Well, we got a full map reveal. That's very, very useful. Let's send the rock to Med Bay. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is the only store in this sector. That's quite unfortunate. We have no way to get guaranteed scrap again before this store. Because if we go here, there's no fight indicated at this. It's an unvisited nebula. We might be able to make scrap there nonetheless, but it's probably an empty beacon. It's not going to be manually search or anything like that, because that would indicate that it was a low power battle. I think the only kind of weapon we could get here that would make it worth holding scrap, the only kind of thing at all we could get there, the only things that we might be able to buy would be long-range scanners, which I wouldn't buy now because we need to upgrade our offense and defense, or an ion blast, which I would buy if it was there. But the odds that this store has that one weapon out of all the weapons in the game is not that high. So I'm just going to upgrade my shields and put off. I know now that there are no other stores in this sector, so I'm going to hit as many of these beacons that have stuff indicated at them. This distress beacon is highly desirable because we have a rocket and an NG. I just want to hit as many different beacons to give me scrap as possible, and in Sector 2 we will look to upgrade our offense and go to stores. We definitely in Sector 2 need to go somewhere that has multiple stores. Yeah, there's nothing there. It was worth going there because it was a half pursuit beacon, so... This is the only hazard beacon, and it's just a solar flare. Solar flares are not nearly as dangerous as asteroid fields or pulsars or things like that. Oh good, we got an outpost. Not good, they have a burst laser too. No fair, only I should have burst laser too. I'm Fed A. So 2 of our shots collided with each other in the air, because those 2 fired at the same moment. That was a thing that happened. Whatever, we hit one of them because they have no shields, and that took the burst 2 out, so I'm fine with that. They hit us as well because our shields were down for the basic laser, but whatever. I once on stream had a moment where I had a flak 1 and the enemy also had a flak 1, and they fired at the same moment because we both had the same level of manning. And the 2 flak 1s, neither of them arrived at the other side, so they must have collided in the air. Nice double reward, we can immediately get our shields up. That was extremely annoying when that happened, because I had used hacking on that volley and they hadn't, so the advantage was theirs. We won the fight anyway, but... How many jumps do we have? I mean, quite a lot, certainly more than... Looks like we have about 8 more jumps, so what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... I guess we can take 1 more before going here. It's a random jump, but... You know, we can hit all of these. Like, failing all else, we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we hit these. We may only have 7, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure we have 8. I could probably just put in extended pursuit indicator in, but I'm not going to. Let's go here first. Although these don't have fights indicated. Okay, well we found a quest. This quest is not always that great. I'll go to it because all of the fights at it are skippable. There's a particular fight that can generate at this event where there's a rebel ship that has an ASB firing at you, and that's quite bad to fight in Sector 1. So if it's that, I'm likely to just skip it, unless we get like a weapon upgrade before then. Let's do this. Actually, no, let's run the second shield, because that way, if this laser pops a shield bubble, I can avoid, still have a shield bubble up so I don't take damage from the solar flare. We might just knock it off, though. Okay. Well. You two go start fixing this. I won't try crew killing because, I mean, there's a solar flare going on and they got a rock. So it's definitely not happening. If I fought this ship outside of a solar flare, I might consider trying to just hit the O2 over and over again after running them out of bombs, but... Let's distract them by hitting their shields. It looks like my artillery beam is never going to actually fire, is it? Whatever. Literally put the oxygen back so that you would have a path that didn't require you to suffocate and you just refused to do it. We will not surrender to slavers, so this is a crew killable ship. Let's see what they've got over there. Okay. This ship is probably not crew killable because I would need to... The NG is in the second position, so if I just shoot at O2, they're gonna... if I just shoot at O2, they're gonna send the NG. I would need to shoot it somewhere else, but I'd need to probably hit twice to make sure the NG stayed there, and the burst 2 is not fast enough. So I'm just gonna kill this ship. I might actually just power the artillery beam up. This will take a while. But I can do this, see if it hits, you know, some useful systems, runs people around, and then fire the burst 2 after. I'm concerned about the ship trying to run, basically. It's definitely a problem with this ship, is your offense is a little bit sluggish. If your burst laser 2 fires and hits something and then it decides to start running, it's a while before you get to fire it again. I don't even know whether slaver ships run particularly often, but we'll just do this rather than look it up. Yeah, that takes out their evade. Now we'll shoot at their shields. Now we should be able to keep them busy repairing long enough that they never really have a chance to run away. I'll just shoot this out now. No, we're not accepting a crew offer. This ship already has 4 crew. What you want is scrap. Put a second shield bubble up so that Ion doesn't take me out completely. And we get 20 scrap instead. That's more valuable than having a second NG. Distress. Unfortunately, this distress beacon has a chance to lose crew. If you have a clone bay, you're safe there, but we do not. I guess my attempt to vent down the O2 there has resulted in them getting out of the vented room faster, but whatever. This should still vent in time. This ship, at least I can be sure, doesn't have any NGs on it because it's a rebel ship and they would never do anything as intelligent as have an NG. We might not manage to hit that in time. Oh, we just managed it. I was concerned because obviously they'd run someone into my weapons, which meant I wasn't getting the faster weapon charge in the moment that they were in there. Our artillery beam should finish this ship off. So we get 17 scrap. We could use another power bar, but I'm going to save 80 so that we can get hacking or just about any weapon at a store before I consider spending on any of those upgrades. Do I definitely have 3 jumps? I'm quite confident here that I have 3 jumps. So I'm going to take here, here, there, and out. I mean, if this is like a fleet pursuit that doubles somehow, will we just go to the quest and then out? Which would be unfortunate since we'd lose a fight, but explore the asteroid field, it's a nothing, unfortunately. You often get fights or scrap rewards from that, but we didn't there. Nice, outpost. We don't need 2 shields here because that's a beam drone. You go to sensors. We're not trying to crew kill this ship because they have a missile. But still, it would be nice to see what they've got over there. Okay, they don't seem to have a system repair drone, which was the main thing I was concerned about seeing. You go start repairing. It shouldn't matter, but... I'm going to actually wait until they fix this and fire it every single time, because, yeah, I'm concerned about them bringing it up when I've, like, just fired a second ago. And if they do that, they might actually manage to get it off, especially if that's a Lido missile, which I think it is. Just keep it down. My artillery beam will go off in a moment and might even finish them off, although it probably won't. No, but... outpost, so we get a guaranteed double scrap reward. And now quest, and we'll see what this is. We've made 134 scrap so far, and we've still got 2 more jumps, so it's been a pretty decent Sector 1 all told. Not the absolute best, we haven't had any drops. I think this is the fight that has an ASB. You find the missing cargo ship. No, not the destroyed cargo ship, a different one. Space station under construction. Space station near Rebel Station. I mean, it's a double scrap reward if you take the fight. But the ASB, if it hits piloting or weapons or shields, especially, you know, it can generate like rebel disruptors, which are potentially quite nasty. I'm going to skip this. It's unfortunate because that is a guaranteed double scrap reward. But, like, we have the scrap we need to get any weapon that we might need. We just need the opportunity to actually get one. Okay, well, this has a chance to double the fleet pursuit, but we don't care. We're at the exit beacon, so, like, whatever. Unfortunately, we can't take that missile down easily. Okay, that's a little worrying. Let's get the NG in there since there's a breach as well, and send the Mantis to man weapons. Okay, that's down. Good. Shoot that back out. That is obviously the danger of venting O2, is that something like that happens. They're repairing that really fast. But still, as long as you're alert. Wow! That is a fantastic... That's a high scrap reward and the weapon. So, we absolutely take that. I would much rather have a pike beam than an artillery beam. Although, now we of course have both, so... Let's go fix the artillery. I guess. I'm gonna buy one more power bar. Keeps us at 80, we can still get... Actually, that was a mistake. I probably should have actually got weapon control up, and now I can't do it without going below 80. That was a silly thing to do, but it's not a particularly big problem, I don't think. Sector 2 is generally reasonably safe. Well, these are both good places to go in terms of stores. Civilian does... If we go civilian, we do have a potential to be forced into a... Well, not forced, but, you know, one of our potential Sector 3s is an Uncharted Nebula. I still think it's worth going civilian. They typically have better stores, although we did get a weapon upgrade. I'm still going to go civilian. I just find NG sector so hit and miss, and we just like a sector where we get a decent amount of scrap. Like, we can potentially go here. It does potentially mean like, the worst that could happen if we have to go this way. I mean, we have a forced nebula in Sector 5. That's probably a slug nebula. The worst that could happen if we go into this red sector is we're forced into Abandoned 4. And Abandoned 4 isn't that bad. It's Abandoned 5 you need to be worried about. Yep, we've got a civilian sector with a big nebula. I do wish these were reversed. I'd rather have the nebula over here and the non-nebula beacons that side, because the stores can only be in the first half of the sector. So we want to We want to get to here as soon as possible to see everything. Think our best path is going to be here and there. Actually, no, it might be here and there because if we go, if we go this way, we see these two beacons early. But then if it turns out when we jump here that the store is here, our only way to do it is to take a much more awkward route. Whereas this way, if we go here, we see that immediately. If that's store, we go there. If it isn't, we go here. We still see that jump. Actually, it makes seeing this jump really, really impossible. Nah, go this way. Attack the slaver scum. This ship can't hurt me. We're going to try to crew kill it. And we probably will succeed. We will definitely succeed. Some mighty boarding crew over on this ship. Don't kill the Zoltan. Run away, the Zoltan is too strong. Now we play the waiting game. We don't have to wait very long, it's only 20 seconds. Here comes the NG. Thank God it beamed into my medbay or we'd have just been overwhelmed through its raw power. The Zoltan is definitely in that room, so we just kill them by landing shots on them. And now you die. See, we got an NG after all. And we got a high scrap reward because that was a slaver ship. So sometimes when you kill a slaver ship, you actually get a choice of crew. It would have been a choice between a rock, an NG, and a mantis, which we'd have picked an NG anyway. So we get the best of everything, really. Does that mean do I put you on? I'll put you on shields as well. That way we have NGs on the two most critical systems to repair, and we found 2 stores. So one way to do this would be to hit loads and loads of jumps and then curl up to this store. The problem with doing that is if this store is bad, or if this store is bad, then going here is quite awkward. On the other hand, the downside of going here is that there's nowhere else to jump that's not backtracking except here. So if this store is good, this jump is kind of wasted. I think this is still the better way to go. I mean, if necessary, if we have a good store here and then we jump here and find other good stuff here, we have enough time. We're ahead of the Rebel Pursuit. We could jump around, grab more stuff, and then double back to this store. Doubling back is not really that bad a thing to do in FTL. Yep, there's stuff here that we want. I really wish we had enough to get hacking and the burst one, but we don't. Hacking is just better. I'll hold off on spending any scrap on repairs or anything in case I see something nice here that will make me know this store sucks. This slightly delays me getting the weapon buffer, but it's fine. My next 2 upgrades are going into weapons. We're gonna go. Actually, I might spend 20 scrap getting piloting because this is a huge nebula. Although on the other hand, we're not going to hit these 2 jumps down here, or probably that one back there. So it's only really 4 nebula jumps. No, I won't do it for that then. Frankly, we have enough crew that we could afford to risk one. Well, we have the extremely annoying phenomenon of the Zoltan shield ship with a missile. I should have vented my stuff down to 50%. I don't think this will happen in time now. Yeah, maybe it will. No, it didn't. Fortunately, that's only a Leto missile. So, at most we'll take 10 damage in this fight, and probably less. Although saying that, they hit my weapons. Other NG go. Yeah, this is where having the damage buffer would have been quite helpful. No, not my artillery beam. That would have eventually done something. He really doesn't like my artillery, a thing I agree with them on. Should I was considering whether or not to hack, but I'm not going to. I guess maybe I should have. Okay, I definitely should have just hacked. I'm doing it now, but I've taken extra damage. Yeah, this fight really shows I probably should have weapon buffered instead of getting that power bar earlier, considering I'm not even using one of my power bars here. Yeah, we took quite a bit of damage from these people. We're trying to run away. We're not going to accept that. We won't scrap. They've got 2 damage systems, so they're not going to run anywhere anytime soon. We get another high scrap reward. Do that immediately. Now we're protected against that shenanigans. For the end of this sector, we want weapons 4 and hacking 2 and a bit more power. Go to stress. We can give 4 fuel. The map reveal is kind of annoying. Now here, there's a high chance one of those will be the manually search event. But on the other hand, it's only 50-50. And I can decide by the time I get there. That's in the nebula, even though it doesn't look like it. I could do this fight safely, but in order to do so, I would need to use almost all my power on shields. We could very gradually grind dodges by doing this. That's probably the safe thing to do, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to hack their weapons to delay them firing. And hopefully we will knock this out with the burst 2. And if we don't, then we move stuff into shields. Yep, got it down. I'll keep shooting at this room in the hopes of getting a fire in a locked room. That might lead to a crew kill. If they were smart, they'd power their bomb right now, but they're not doing that. Let's depower that. That'll kill this guy. Oh, God. This is concerning. They have 3 crew on this ship. I really wish I'd been able to get a fire with any of those shots. I mean, we'll try to pull the pilot by hitting this. And that just managed it, but we need to be very careful, because if they ever fix this, they will run back. They will run that person back there. Okay, we did get a fire there. Now that's actually not as good as it might seem, although we did manage it, because potentially if they had lost fighting the fire, they would give up trying to repair, and then they'd have run to the, they'd have run back to piloting, and then they'd have just escaped. But thankfully, they did not do that. And do that. Let's see. I think we're gonna go here. I guess we go here first. We're gonna go here, here, here. We can probably hit both of these. I think I'll just hit them without... I don't think I have enough scrap to do not luxury stuff like getting piloting too. This ship can't hurt me. Should I grind dodges here? I guess I'll grind dodges here. I can also grind weapon skill by doing this. I haven't installed cheat engine yet because I'm not 100% sure I want to do so yet, because you could potentially do stuff that messes your run up if you're careless with it. So I think for the moment I will just continue doing training the slow way. So in that case, I will see you back when we have max skill in... Well, we can get max skill in everything here, although I don't know whether I'll bother with shields. I'll decide how I'm feeling. Right, we're back. We have max of everything except our weapon skill, which is only 2 off maxing. And that will go up by the time we finish killing this ship. So we even managed to get max shield skill, which I didn't think I was going to actually do, but it just happened fast enough that it didn't matter. So we will get max weapon skill on this shot. And after this fight, we're going to upgrade our weapons to 4, and then we'll start buying power so we can actually use the Pike Beam and the Burst 2 together. I mean, we could do it, but we'd have to give up all of our evade, which is not ideal. Speaking of giving up all your evade, you have no piloting now. So we kill on this shot. I believe this was a possible storage cache, if I recall, from when the fight started. Yes, it is. Nice. I don't think we'll be using that, because you almost never use the Burst Laser 3, but it sells for a lot of scrap, and if necessary, you can use it. I don't generally recommend it, but you can use this. Effectively, though, this is probably 56 scrap, which, that's a damn good reward. That's way better than you can get otherwise in this sector. So, let's upgrade that and do that. Now we can use both of these. This ship can't hurt us. I don't think we can crew kill. They have... Maybe we can. Let's see if we can do something. It's not likely to work, but we'll try it. We're going to chase this guy off. Now, I don't know for sure, but this ship, I think this layout generally has, at this stage of the game, 2 Mantis and an NG. What we want to do, leave you alive. Depending on what level medbay this is. What I want to do here is set a fire in that room. And I think we did, because they're running 2 people in there. So if that is still broken, I may have fired too early. But if that is still broken, and then they fix it when it comes off cooldown, they're going to both board me. Yep. So, we trick them into double boarding us. We want to take this down so that they can't escape. Actually, we might leave that a moment. Shall we leave that a moment? Let's leave that a moment. that's down. Can we kill this NG while he's still on the ship? Yes, we can. Okay, I think we can crew kill this, because their only crew member left is a Mantis. If we take out their O2, we can suffocate them. So, that lucky fire... If they hadn't got the fire, it wouldn't have worked, because they wouldn't have run 2 people in there. What happens is that they... When the teleporter comes off cooldown, they want to send someone over right away. But in this case, the teleporter came off cooldown when it was still broken. So they couldn't send it over right away. So the first moment that it was both off cooldown and when they could actually use it was when they finished getting 1 point of repair on it. And of course, there were 2 people in the room, and they don't have time between when they decide to do that. They would normally only send 1 crew over, but they happen to be 2 in the room. And we'll hit that. And the Mantis is going to very, very slowly repair this. Because it's a Mantis ship, they will additionally not run away here. So there's no risk of that happening. We should be able to get the crew kill as long as, you know, we can make them suffocate by doing less than like 4 or 5 times hitting this room, and that should easily be the case. They will prioritize keeping this room fixed over running to save themselves in the medbay. So they will suffocate when the O2 runs out on their ship. We should only need to hit it like twice more, I think, for that to happen. It might even only be once, because they wanted to fix this first before running over there. Yep, they'll go back there. It's nice to know that even in, it's an important trick to use, is even when you're in a nebula, you can see what the enemy's doors are doing. So even though you can't tell what crew are going where all the time, you at least know where crew are moving based on the movements of doors. And I knew that we'd set that fire because the door opened in both piloting and engines, which meant they're running 2 people in there, and they only would do that for a fire. I can't tell whether, you know, how close they are to suffocating, but I would guess they're pretty close right now. More free weapons. So we would not have got, even though we don't really want to use that weapon, it sells for a good amount of scrap, and we never would have got that had we not managed to trick them into double boarding us. So we've had 3 weapons so far. All of them have been drops. It really shows how important it is to crew kill in the first 2 sectors, because 2 of those, I think, actually no, these 2 weren't crew kills. These 2 were, this was a surrender, that wasn't a crew kill, that was. It's just, being able to do that and just have that 1 in 9 chance of a weapon drop is just very important to avoid getting screwed over on weapons. Back when I was first playing FTL, I had a lot more runs where I would just go through the first couple sectors and not get any weapons, and then I'd be in trouble. But now that doesn't happen nearly as often, because I can often just eke one out from a crew kill. Let's vent you. We're not bothering to do the 50% thing anymore, because, you know, we have hacking, we have 2 weapons. The danger of taking 1 hit on our weapon system is much less now. Close that. Now there's a question here of there's 2 different jumps that have, these both could be manually searched, which is the incapacitated ships event. There's basically 4 things these could be. It could be incapacitated ships, it could be borders that give us scrap, it could be a fight against a rebel auto ship, or it could be a fight at a there's pirates where we could either go and grab fuel or ammo. If it's manually search, if we get piloting up, we get a blue option, which often gives drops. Getting piloting up also gives you a buffer on that, which is useful potentially when you're running away. But I feel like we don't have enough scrap, I think, to do that. That's sort of a luxury purchase. There's only a 1, there's a 1 in 2 chance of it coming up, and we might just risk it anyway. I'm not sure. I'll decide if it comes up. Okay, there's the borders with scrap event. Might as well turn our med bay on. You guys go heal. Rock and Mantis obviously beat these 2. Give the kill to my Mantis. And unfortunately now we have to wait for this Rock to very slowly regain all his hit points. There's now only a 1 in 3 chance of it being manually searched. Doesn't change the calculus at all. I think it's still not worth doing. I'm going to actually buy a power bar. I'd like to get hacking up, but we would need power to actually use that anyway. And this isn't manually searched. We don't need shields here because this ship isn't using shield weapons at the moment. Shield piercing weapons, I should say. We should take note that they do have a hacking system that they're just not powering. But if we hit other stuff, they might start powering it. But we're going to hack this missile down and get a first volley off, and we can hopefully just destroy both their weapons. And we destroy their hacking system while we're at it. Well, the scrap recovery arm is a giant trap if you have to buy one, because you're effectively spending 50 scrap to get a minimal additional amount of scrap. But when you get one for free, they're quite nice. We'll probably keep this for quite a while at least. We may end up selling it because if we get to a storm we're like 25 scrap short of being able to buy, or within 25 scrap of being able to buy, a good weapon or a system or something, we will obviously do that instead of keeping the scrap recovery arm. I think I'm actually going to dive and take this jump. Actually, I'm not even sure if that is a dive, but regardless, it's a nebula dive, so we're fine. It is a dive, I think, but I think this is worth it. These weapons are dangerous. We're going to hack. We'll let them fire. We could crew kill this ship, but I'm not going to because the weapons are too dangerous. That's what I want to do. And they're just going to die the next time we shoot our lasers. Well, probably the next time we shoot our lasers. Down they go. We get 1 extra scrap there. The scrap recovery arm, it's 10% more, but it rounds down, which that's pretty vital on hard, because on hard in the first 2 sectors, a medium scrap reward is between 12 to 19 scrap. So even if you get the 19 scrap, which is the highest you can get from a medium reward, it still is only 1 extra scrap. So it really, the math does not work on getting one of those things early in a run, or really ever in a run. But if you wanted to get it, you would want to get it early in the run so you have the benefit of it for the longest time possible. But unfortunately, scrap is worth more at the beginning of a run than at the end of it. Let's get our hacking up. Hopefully we don't have to use it on this dive ship, but like it might have a big missile or something. Well, it wouldn't have a big missile, it's too early I think for that, but it might have a small missile, and indeed it does. However, we do have a big missile. I don't think I want to fight this ship. I don't want to stick around to deal with that. So I'm just gonna hack their weapons, and then we're gonna sling a breach missile in there. We had 28 missiles, we might as well use the damn things. Where are you? You're in my med bay. We'll fight you in there. We don't need 2 shields right now because we're going to hack your weapons before you fire the chain laser anyway. Let's chuck a breach missile into your weapons room. We might revise our opinion about sticking around and fighting this ship because they're not fixing that anytime soon. Like, they're never... I don't think they're going to get this bomb off. That will probably burn out before they ever get to use it. Actually, it looks like they are going to get to just bare... Oh, no, they didn't. It was very close, but they did not get to use it after all. So yeah, let's just kill dive ships in Sector 2. Why not? That fire was very useful. They're not even trying to fix that. They're waiting for the... We've hit the shields, and they're also waiting for those fires to go out. So we just kill this thing and take their 1 fuel. It cost a missile and a drone to do that dive, but that's very worth it. Okay, so Rebel Controlled is definitely better on scrap than the Uncharted Nebula. Rebel Controlled is one of the highest scrap sectors in the game. It is definitely a lot more dangerous, because in Rebel 3, you can fight double offensive drone auto assault ships, and they're very dangerous. But we have good enough weapons to do it. They would only have 2 shields. We got another Nebula. We might now regret not having got that piloting upgrade, because it could be in here. We don't have vision. We'll definitely take that. Just jump around and hit these. What are you hacking? I'm not happy about this because we've obviously had rather bad experience lately with auto hacker ships hacking our damn weapons. And that is an Artemis missile as well. And they're also running away. Not ideal. I think unfortunately we need to shoot it. Our pike beam alone is not guaranteed to take this thing down. There's a high chance it has multiple levels, so I'm going to shoot the burst at this, unfortunately. Okay, it was only level 1, we didn't need to do that, but like that was not a reliable gamble. It's frustrating. We'll take another missile here and then we'll hack them down. Okay, that looked like it might be heading at my weapons, but fortunately it was not. We should be able to kill them with this, well, we will kill them with this volley because they can't dodge. Yeah, we get 11 scrap for that very dangerous running away ship. I hate forward scouts. We need to be careful here because we are a little bit, we're down to just under half hull. And just 1 or 2 dangerous fights could be quite bad. Does that mean we should avoid these nebula jumps and just go here to find stores? I think I dodge this one, but I go here because this can like see over there. Currently we don't have very much scrap anyway, so. Oh, okay, you're coming in here, that's fine. NG, keep them busy until that happens. Vintage. You guys go over there. We're gonna vent all this stuff now. You go hold these guys off. Okay, that's actually already vented out. Good. Come on in. One of them did suffocate, but it's fine. We don't need to get all the combat XP. As far as XP goes, combat XP is, unless you're playing a boarding ship, by far the least important. Okay, we see a store there. I'm not going to dash there immediately. Like, we have hacking too. Even if we fight a really dangerous ship, we should be safe. We have the option of going there in, like, 2 jumps if something goes bad. As long as I stick, like, within 1 of here. So I could go, like, here, 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 there. Ideally, we have more scrap than this when we hit the store. Why must they all be forward scouts? Well, the good thing about this forward scout is, firstly, they're boarding us, so that's going to take crew off their ship. We can also pike beam and hit 4 different systems, and that way we can pull their pilot. But we hack those missiles. We don't want any missiles being fired at us. Especially not Artemis missiles, which that is. Unfortunately, that keeps the Artemis missile up, so we're in some danger. You go and heal, because I don't want you getting tagged by an Artemis missile and dying. We don't need our evade right now. Our evade, our shields. We need our evade very much. Okay. I don't want to hit the piloting in case it, like, redirects them to go there. So let's just hit other rooms. Okay, good. The missile is down, so we took 2 damage. It's fine. Next pike beam shot will kill. And that's a much better reward, considering that was also a forward scout fight. Yeah, I think we hit like here, 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 store, and then go up and down towards the exit. How many more jumps do we have? It's probably about 8, maybe 9. Possibly 10 if one of them is in the nebula, but I'm not going to risk that. That'd be like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, so we'd cut one of those off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. There's a bit of a risk of possible crew doublings, but that's always a risk, really. Nothing there. We always have the option of doubling back to get to the exit early if we need to, which obviously that's not what we want to do, but FTL's not always a game about doing what you want to do. I'm going to be using drones quite liberally right now until we repair, because this fight could go bad if we get a bad first volley. I'm just going to hack their weapons to make sure they never fully ionize my shields. I hacked it down there because this buys time for my second shield bubble to come back, and then I can't take damage from the beam drone. There we go. We are now safe. We kind of like to get another weapon before the next sector, one that we can actually, get online quickly as opposed to these, because You know, if we fight a ship in Sector 4 that has 3 shield bubbles, which as we've seen demonstrated recently, that does happen, sometimes potentially as the first ship, we'd have to have all of our Burst Laser 2 shots hit for the Pike Beam to do anything. That would effectively require us to use the hacking offensively to guarantee all our shots hitting, or to get rid of shields. And either way, that could then result in very bad things happening if the enemy puts an Artemis missile or a small bomb or something like that, or they just have fast conventional weapons and they hit my weapons. That could start a cascade. So I'd like to get weapons to 5 and get like an ion blast or a heavy laser or something like that. Attack the ship. Okay, this ship is quite dangerous. We're definitely hacking those weapons. The one saving grace here is they only have they have level 5 drones. Saving grace is they only have 1 shield bubble. We do not want those weapons to ever fire. Unfortunately, they've kept the missile up. That is only a Leto missile, though. That is one good thing. You fucking dickhead. No. Pike Beam takes longer to charge. We'll start spinning that up. Yeah, now we can do that. Oh, shit. I should have been paying attention to that. We might take damage here now. Okay, our shields fortunately recharged just in time, but that was a misplay. Since we only need to hit the weapons room once, actually it doesn't matter, we'll kill if we get this Pike Beam shot off. Yeah, we should have taken damage there and didn't. Sometimes FTL is nice like that, and other times it ruthlessly destroys your win streak in a fight you should have won. Not that that's happened to me recently. Yeah, we'll lead them. That's another possible store. Okay, there's nothing of value here, unfortunately, other than repairs. We have to do that, even though this is possibly a store. It's not. It could also be a repair, but we don't have guarantees, and we were at 11 hull. We need to get more than that. I'm not going to sell any of these weapons because we're not going to use them to get anything imminently. So I'm going to just leave them in the hopes that we find another store at some point. If there's one, there might not be another store in this sector because the rebel sectors often only have 1. Let's just make sure. Do we definitely have 4 jumps here? Yeah, we definitely have 4 jumps as long as we don't get any... Frankly, we might be able to even afford a doubling and still be able to do it. Give them 4 fuel. We get... That goes up by 2. You can see there the rounding down. Even though that was 28, it only gave us 2 extra. Same there. Okay, there is another store, and we don't really have much choice but to go to it. Backup battery makes getting cloaking later more likely. Gives us more flexibility. Doesn't really prevent us from any upgrades that we might want to get immediately in Sector 4, so let's do it. But those are 2 disappointing stores. We get a defensive drone, which we're just going to sell. We never want drone control. Drone control even doesn't even defend you well on this ship. Now we're gonna take some missiles here because this ship has cloaking. So unless it's only a 5-second cloak, I guess. If it's only a 5-second cloak, we could hack that down, but it probably isn't. Oh, maybe it is. Get rid of this guy so we actually have evade. I mean, if we absolutely had to, and we're fighting 3 shield ships, We could use the burst 3. That wouldn't be ideal. Or we could even just put a breach. We could even like do something like hack weapons, put a breach missile into weapons, and then get safety in the fight. Something like that. Or we could get weapons to 6 so that we could potentially use burst 2 and burst 3 to make sure of getting through. Upgrading your weapons to 6 is expensive, and doing that just to use a burst 3 is kind of gross. You'd better run from my Angie. Your clone bay is smashed. You know my Angie was going to knock you into next week. I have sufficient rocks on my ship. I'd rather have 29 scrap. We actually have enough right now that we could sell the defensive drone and get cloaking. Okay, Mantis Homeworlds. Well, Mantis Homeworlds shouldn't be so dangerous in Sector 4, but then Mantis Controlled shouldn't have been so dangerous the last time. So, let's see. So our ship is in very similar shape to what Kestrel was in when we went into Sector 4 last time, except I think Kestrel was stronger because Burst 2 and 2 heavy lasers is better than Burst 2 and a pike beam. So, there's a question now of, should we get Weapons 5 is one possibility. We could get Shield 6. We could do the Weapon 6 thing that I mentioned. Or we could save our scrap for cloaking. Or just anything that there might be at a store. Not just cloaking, we could, save to get like a weapon or something like that. We should spend time thinking about this right now. I mean, the ships that would be dangerous for us. Obviously, you could have a ship where just the RNG goes completely against you in terms of in-battle things. Like, to talk a little bit more about that ship that we fought last time, 3 things had to happen for that fight to go as badly as it did on the Kestrel run. Firstly, they needed to hack weapons. Hacking appears, as far as we can tell, to just be, and what the devs recollect it being as well, is it's just one out of however many rooms that have systems on your ship. They're the ones that they can hack. We had 9 on Kestrel at the time, so there was a 1 in 9 chance of them hacking weapons. It's not too unlikely, but it doesn't happen most of the time. They needed to missile my shields. The odds on that were somewhere in the vicinity of 15 to 25%. I'm not sure. I can't be bothered to calculate it precisely, but it was certainly no higher than 25%, and I think it was actually more like 15. And then they needed our shots to not do any damage, which calculating the probability on that's quite difficult because you have to take both their dodge chance into effect, and also you have to take the risk of things hitting asteroids as they actually did. It's worth noting that if they had not hacked my weapons, this thing couldn't have happened because I would have hacked if they'd hacked anything else, I hacked their piloting to guarantee my shots hit. And then our shots would go off at about the same time as their Artemis missile. I know that I need all of those 3 things to happen because I actually did a bit when I was using the save manager. I deliberately kept reloading until I got a fight where they hacked my weapons and missiled my shields. And in that version of the fight, it was even worse because they missiled my shields instead of double fire. But because my weapons actually did something on the first round, I was fine. I took like 10 damage, but I won the fight. It needed all 3 of those things to happen. And even then, we might be able to survive had they then missiled my shields again with their second missile. So it just comes down to, because this is a very, very similar situation to what we were in. Although the difference is here we're a bit ahead on scrap. We actually have enough to buy cloaking right now. We don't need any more. It's just we don't see an immediate possibility at a store. And Weapons 5 isn't as good a choice here because we don't have a weapon to immediately bring on. The other alternative, and I think I might do this, is to just do this. This doesn't take me away from cloaking. And my other... Oh, no, nothing about fucking sensors, Christ. Thankfully, the undo button works in this game. Like, we could do this, and that makes us safe against one of the more... Like, the 3 types of ships, I think, that are most likely to kill us here are double offensive drone ships. We fought a couple of those, actually, in the last sector. But, like, we fought that one that had, Burst 2 and a Lido missile, and double offensive drones. We could theoretically fight a ship like that that had 3 shield bubbles. That would be the most dangerous ships that we fight. The odds of that in the Mantis sector are extremely small. If it was a Rebel sector, I would actually go Shield 6 right now. Or if it was a Zoltan sector, which is the other one where you're highly probable to get double drone ships. The other kind of ship that I would think that's most likely to kill us is a Zoltan shielded ship with a missile. And just, if it high rolls and gets level 6 weapons as well, that would be very dangerous. They say they get level 6 weapons and have an Artemis missile. The first one, we can't hack because of the Zoltan shield. They put the first missile into weapons. That could set off a cascade. The other very dangerous ship would probably be one that had like an unusual weapon, like an ion bomb, and they just managed to like dodge a bunch of our shots and put one off in shields or something like that. That could be quite dangerous. That's not terribly probable. And the other type of very dangerous ship would be one if they rolled level 6 weapons and cloaking. I once jumped into Sector 4 and on just a bog standard Kestrel Sea run, and the first ship that I fought in that sector had level 2 cloaking and level 6 weapons, and the level 6 weapons that it had were burst 2, and flak 1. And I actually didn't die in that fight, but that ship did me like 20 damage in 3 combat rounds before I got to run the hell away. And I just survived because it never hit piloting. On a percentage basis, a ship like that is more dangerous than the one that killed us last time. I think this is worth doing so that if we do get into a disaster situation, we can run away quicker. Because that would have been nice to have last time, although we weren't particularly close. And I'd like to get here. And this sees a very large part of the sector, so I can always make another choice there if I don't see a store. I'll go here first because that sees this. Yeah. So we don't get an immediate BS high roll ship. This is another ship you could theoretically crew kill by doing the by getting a fire in there and letting the first border go back, but I'm just gonna kill it. I don't know what bomb that is. If it's an ion bomb, it would be quite bad, or could be. We also need to worry about it being a small bomb. It's not. That's a stun bomb. That's the least dangerous types of bombs it can be. You always need to worry about boarding ships with bombs, just because if it's a small bomb, they might, or a fire bomb, they might set it off on a room and just kill somebody because they're low on hit points from fighting. Okay, 36, and there we go. There's a store. So we have enough for cloaking, if it's here. I'd rather another weapon, and indeed I would much rather, well, they don't have cloaking, but they have flak, so we're getting that. Can we buy this hull beam as well? If we buy this hull beam as well, we're kind of set on weapons for the whole run. We could go flak, burst 2, pike hull. Let's do it. Get rid of these. We're definitely going flak plus burst 2 for now. Get this. And yeah, we're not even after buying those two, we're not actually, we literally only need one more scrap reward to be within range of cloaking. We now don't really need to upgrade our weapons because now we have a 6-shot barrage. That's really, really strong. And with hacking 2, nothing should be able to kill us with that, barring really, really absurd luck. I mean, when you don't have hacking and cloaking, you're never 100% safe, but we're mostly safe. Let's rebuild our cloak buffer, and then we'll get shield 6. Hit these 2 distress beacons, I guess. That was probably foolish to do. It was almost certainly foolish to do. I should have turned that down. Whatever. Okay, this is better. We'll get an augment from this. Our rock gets us 39 scrap and an FTL recharge booster. It'd be nice to go back to the store and buy fuel, but they don't actually get the fuel back that we already bought. So we're just going to have to go ahead. Let's jump to here to maximize the odds of seeing a second store. What are you hacking? That was the only thing it could have hacked that would make this fight dangerous. I'm actually going to blow that hack up. There we go. They'll probably hack us again, but they're likely to hack a different room. And we just need to keep them running away. Keep them from running away. Yeah, like that, I don't care about that. Our fuel is now low enough because we foolishly accepted that offer that any fuel surrender at all, I think we need to take. They didn't offer to surrender, so we didn't need to make that decision. And we got 3 back. Cool. Sadly, no store any of these. How many more jumps do we have? We almost certainly are going to need to double back. We have like 5 jumps. I don't think there's any way we can get 5 jumps without doubling somewhere. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, let's do this. 1, 2. If there's a store there, we go there to buy fuel. If there isn't, we go 3, 4, and out. We'll lose 1 jump, but it's fine. Frankly, losing 1 jump when we have this little fuel is not the worst thing in the world. Keep the damage even in case they bomb this room. But we're going to try to preserve drones in fights like this that are not very dangerous. Guess we could do this since we have backup battery. Is that an ion bomb? That's an ion bomb. I did say that fights with ion bombs could be dangerous, so now we're going to have to... This is what happens when you try to preserve hacking drones. Unfortunately, our shields will be down when the solar flare goes off, and that's really, really bad. It's going to set an awful lot of fires. Yeah, that wasn't as bad as it could have been. Keep a couple of you in here. Get the NGs in shields. We don't want those to burn out. We might just have to accept drones burning down. Mantis, let somebody who knows what they're doing in the room, I guess. Oh yeah, we could just vent that. Why am I not doing that? I don't know why I fired flak at that room, but it doesn't matter. It's all gonna hit shields anyway. Yeah, fortunately, this ship's other weapons were not very dangerous at all. I mean, that was one of the reasons I felt comfortable not upgrading in the last run, and I'm sorry to keep harping on about the last run, but it's, you know, I think about the runs where we lose. And one of the reasons I felt so comfortable is Mantis sectors generally do not have very dangerous ships in them. Their whole shtick is the teleporter. The teleporter is not that bad. I'd like to upgrade my shields here, but I can't because we're in a solar flare. And Mantis, you know, teleporter ships are generally quite manageable. But, unfortunately, we rolled a ship that wasn't really common in that type of sector, and it high rolled. And it was in a hazard beacon that helped them out tremendously. Do we do this now? We'll do this. We won't get the power for it, I think. We could still get cloaking by selling the FTL recharge booster. I was going to say we could get it by also selling the scrap recovery arm, which I would 100% do. Preserving hacking is not a thing that you do against a ship that has missiles and 3 shield bubbles. Vent this fool. Unfortunately, we may not take this out. They might take the chain ions out instead. We'll see. I mean, they probably dodge at least some of these shots, and then they might keep the chain ion instead of the laser. No, the laser, the missile. We'll take 1 missile. Which obviously hits the dangerous room. Now, this takes longer to charge, so... No. Yeah, they'll never get that back again because that NG is running out of the room. Let's let him out. Okay, no other stores. Buy 1 power bar. We did get some fuel back from that, so we're not going to run out this sector. Yeah, we'll lose 1 jump. That's an ion blast too, that's kind of dangerous. What do we want to hack here? Weapons or piloting? They are running away. I don't want to have it immediately missile my weapons. Let's just take that down. I mean, it doesn't matter that much if they run away. We're at the exit beacon. Like, an immediate missile into my shields would be bad. An immediate missile into weapons would be even worse. Let's just hack that. Cool, we took both their weapons down and even blew up a drone into the bargain. Okay, they've got that back. Really? Here, unfortunately, we kind of do need to shoot at the piloting. Only level 1, thankfully. That's aimed at my shields, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, this would have been a very dangerous ship at the beginning of this sector. So it's you know, a lot of swing comes into just, do you fight your high roll ships at the beginning or end of, I mean, it's really the case like that in any sector, but Sector 4 has a particularly sharp sort of divide. Like with 2 shield bubbles, that ion would be chewing up my shields. A missile into shields would be a catastrophe. Yeah, we get 15 scrap for that. Well, 16, I guess. We get a weapon, so-called. Theoretically, we could upgrade to weapons 5 and have that on our bar. We'll see about that depending on whether we get an immediate store in the next sector. Sadly, this is an Uncharted Nebula, not a Slug Nebula as was hoped for. So in Uncharted Nebulas, you usually have one within the nebula unless one doesn't generate due to a map bug, and one can generate, but not always, outside the nebula. There's only 2 jumps outside the nebula, so we're going to get to there. Should we do this? I mean, we could still do it by selling the recharge booster and then selling the repair burst if needed, even if we got no scrap in between. I'm going to do this. I won't necessarily power this all the time, but I mean, hey. I mean, a repair burst would have saved us in that fight that killed us, actually, because we could have immediately repaired our shields. The number of times that repair bursts are actually good is exceedingly, rare, but occasionally they are. Weapon hack is very good here. We can desync these two lasers and then we're completely safe, except for the bomb. Oops. I mistimed that. I mean, fortunately we knocked the burst 2 off anyway, but that was a misplay. Close all the doors. Okay, I knew our NG was going to lose, but I also knew that their Mantis would run away when his health got too low, so... You can actually use repair bursts on the enemy ship. It's never a good idea to do this, because it just fixes their stuff. But if you for some reason wanted to, I could do that. I don't think we want to try crew killing this, although we could possibly do it when they boarded us the second time. I don't see the need to try. We are running a bit low on drones, which concerns me. However, we've got an immediate store. So we can buy some drones and hopefully cloaking here. Cool, cloaking. Sell the recharge booster. Do we sell the repair burst here just to buy a few more drones? Yeah. Now that we have cloaking, we're extremely safe. I mean, at this point, it shouldn't really be possible unless we misplay badly to lose the run. We have endgame capable weapons. Because we have cloaking now, we could even, if we felt so inclined, move to full-time shield hacking and just use our beams. But I don't think that's worth it, because we don't have very many drones. We just had to spend a bunch of scrap buying them. What we'd like to do is get some less dangerous fight, get our weapons up to 6 to use these two and one of the beams, the whole beam, and then work on rebuilding our drone stockpile, using the drones as rarely as we can, and relying on cloaking to keep us safe. We'd also like to get engines 4, but we'll do that after we get weapon 6 and a bit more power. That's not a good situation for an NG. We do need to keep them distracted just until the thing vents. They'll get a few points. They'll get you more if I don't open all the damn doors. Being an idiot. Whatever, that just gets me more repair skill. Okay, now they'll run in to fight me. I won't send my rock in to help fight, even though they're good at fighting, because they're painfully slow to move anywhere. Now we go to fix things. Well, we'll just keep going east. We don't really need to path for stores in this sector, because if there is another store in this sector at all, we know exactly where it is, in that non-nebula jump up in the top right. Although we were trying to not use hacking, this is quite dangerous fight, so we're going to use it here. We're actually going to use it on piloting to guarantee shots hitting, are we? Actually, no, because if our shots all hit, they're probably going to take the Ion Blast 2 down, which is the weapon I'm least concerned about. I want to take the missile down. So I'm going to just hack their weapons, delay it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's an Artemis missile. God, I hate Artemis missiles. Unfortunately, the weapon I took down was that after all. Oh god, they were cloaking, of course, so we wasted a flak. Well, it's fine, they can't charge for the moment, and by the time they could fire again, we'll be able to hack. Let's use real power, because our backup battery is about to run out. And we only need one shield bubble to block the beam at the moment. We didn't knock it down, but we got a fire. They're gonna cloak again, unfortunately. But 2 can play at that. Good. We can do this now because we held our shots after a previous cloak. Our concern now is them running away, because if we like fired and triggered them to run right before they cloaked, they might just be able to escape. So we're taking their piloting out next. Kind of tempting because we're low on fuel, but 17 scrap is quite bad. We want to get level 6 weapons. Sharpish. Stop them cloaking. Doesn't look like they're trying to run anyway. Okay, the smart play there would have been for them to bring up the Artemis missile, but fortunately they didn't do that. Yeah, 48 scrap is much better than 17. No, we'll hold off. One more fight, and we'll be able to get weapon 6. Attack the pirate. So this is the kind of ship that I was concerned about in terms of, back in the last game when I was weighing up, I mean, I didn't weigh up as much as I should have, but I had sort of had all this going on in the back of my mind rather rapidly and not going through it, is if you spend the scrap in that last fight, suppose we spend the scrap upgrading our ship and then we narrowly miss out on cloaking in Sector 4, it potentially just opens us up to fighting a ship like this. And if you don't have cloaking for it, like, we're completely safe here. Well, we're not completely safe because we don't have 100% evade. We only have 95. But our odds of taking damage here are very, very low, despite the fact the ship rather badly outguns us. But we can time this so that we cloak both the missile and these burst 2s. Probably. Yes. So yeah, we're completely fine there. We're probably going to take another missile, because, like, we can't take all of this stuff down with one set of 3 damage. But hey, we took the 2 burst 2s down, so that's fine. We're just too... Yeah, look at how close we are. This is just crossing our shield bubble. I suppose if we'd pulled our shields down, we could have done it. I wonder whether we still can. No, it had actually crossed the shield bubble. Damn it. Oh well. It was worth trying. Like, we don't really need our cloaking right now anyway. We'd like to take theirs down, though, so that they can't use it to try to run away or get time to fix their stuff. Our hack here is kind of hurting us because they're stuck in that room. We will be able to cloak this one. And they got out in time, so... I think they're going to get another missile off on us here, but we had to really stop them from being able to flee. Yeah. Oh well. We dodged it. So let's get that up. We can't get any more power, so we're not quite where we want to be. But yeah, that fight was very dangerous. And without cloaking, we probably just have to run from it. Although I suppose without cloaking, we've got another weapon in play. But even so, that ship, you know, it pre-cloaks. Without cloaking, we have to hack weapons there. Because otherwise they're just going to get a devastating first volley off on us and might just wreck our systems before we can do anything. That opens us to potentially just getting, you know, them just dodging like crazy. And that could lead to really, really bad things happening. Let's go here, then up, and hit as many jumps as possible. We'll probably dive in this sector, but maybe not. We have a rock. We can lead them out of the nebula. They give us some supplies. We're going to use that to buy 2 power bars. Now we can work on getting our engines up to 4, and then we can cloak anything for 100% evade. Attempt to follow. Sadly, we did not get a free crew member there. Sometimes that event gives you a free crew member. We'll attack this ship. We can probably knock this big missile off. I could guarantee it by using hacking. But honestly, if it does fire, we have only a 5% chance of getting hit. And there's a pretty good chance we knock it offline before it can even do that. Yep. You go to the med bay. We would definitely like one other crew member who knows how to swing a punch. Our Mantis is a little overworked. Yeah, we'll take that. We aren't going to use that weapon because we already have better ones. I wish this was an ion stunner or something instead, because then we could use that at weapon 7 and then swap, you know, the pike beam back in at weapons 8. But hey, that's effectively a 66 scrap surrender. We can, I would put that on my, I was going to say we could also put that on our belt for a blue option, but the only blue options you get from ion weapons is already covered by our NG crew, so we don't need to do that. Let's do that. Look here, odds of there being a store there are not very high, but actually they're maybe 25%, hard to know how to calculate it. We're going to try to do this one without hacking. Give me more evade. Oh, they have shield buffer upgrade on their on that system. Okay, no store. Buy one more power bar. Now we'll start saving for weapons 8, I think. No, we don't have enough drone parts as it is. Do we risk this? I don't feel like we need to risk this. We're comfortably in control. I don't see any reason to lose crew and make things more awkward than they need to be. Unfortunately, we are running very, very low on fuel. And the exit beacon is guaranteed to not have anything at it. I'm going to hit these 2 jumps. If necessary, we'll just kill dive ships in nebula jumps. Looks like that probably will be necessary. I mean, we have to dive to get out regardless, but it was worth doing this to have multiple chances to get fuel, even though instead it ended up being multiple chances to waste fuel. So now we need to kill 2 dive ships. This one's got good weapons. Oh, this is a there was some discussion about this. I feel like this is a bug. If you wait at a nebula beacon, they overtake you, and there's an ASB. So because we were forced to wait at that, so now we actually do have to deal with ASB. I really do feel like, you know, when I brought this up on the Reddit, people were like, no, this isn't a bug, this is intended behavior, and they pointed out the rebel fleet erasing other hazard beacons. But the thing is, it doesn't erase nebulas. If you can fight the rebel fleet at nebulas, and it doesn't overtake. It doesn't overtake. It doesn't erase the ion storm. It erases like pulsars and asteroids. It doesn't necessarily erase ion storms. It doesn't erase nebulas. It doesn't seem to make sense to me that if they could erase nebulas, why wouldn't they always do that? Like, why does it... This is triggered by you waiting rather than... The good thing about this, before we actually get into this fight, is because it does erase, because it's basically drawing from the out of fuel list instead of the, you know, rebels at a nebula beacon list of events, we will get multiple fuel for killing this ship. But we're going to hack weapons. We'll let them fire the flak and the basic laser. There's a marginal chance we take damage from that, but it's very low. And then that separates things. We want to cloak the ASB. We only need 2 shields right now. Cloak now. Dodge that. I mean, it's not particularly important, but I strongly suspect the developers did not consciously sit down and think, oh, what will happen if the player runs out of fuel at a nebula beacon and then they wait? That would be overpowered to let them do that. We need to overwrite the nebula so that they don't fight ASB shit. I think that it's just, you know, an unintended interaction that they didn't think of, which to me, that sounds like a bug. Yeah, we got 2 fuel for that instead of the usual 1. That will let us get out of the sector. I could cloak this and then allow my guys to get full hit points, but I'm just going to jump out. So here, by comparison, because we didn't wait, this nebula dive is in a nebula, so there's no ASB, although this ship is still really, really dangerous because they've got double missiles. What do we want to hack here? I think we want to hack shields. We want to do as much damage to that weapons room as possible. Although actually hacking shields won't fully get them down here, but they will mostly get them down. They'll get rid of 3 shield bubbles. We'll cloak these 2 missiles, since we don't need to cloak an ASB. Unfortunately, we haven't taken out either of the 2 missiles. We'll take a bit of damage here, but it's fine. Or we'll just dodge everything. That's also an acceptable option. I'd like to run away from this, but honestly, we need to get fuel, so we're just gonna kill this ship. And it's still too late. We will get to cloak this one. Which, this is the Artemis missile, so that's better, I guess. There, in that room. Yeah, there's two of them. We can't fight them right now. You go heal, you two take them. It means we're temporarily reduced to below 100% evade, but I'm hoping that we can just knock this missile offline. No. One moment. Okay, we're back. We won't be able to cloak this, unfortunately. Let's just make sure our crew are high enough on hit points that whatever room it hits, they don't die. Yeah, like that was the one who was nearest to not being safe, and they're still fine. Angie's going heal. Well, they know what they're doing, obviously. They're powering their two missiles. Even though it's not 100%, I'm still going to cloak here. It's 90. We took them down. We get our fuel back. Give combat XP to the Mantis, who is now actually nearly maxed out. He's had some good eating. Yeah, we'll jump into the next sector with one. We'll start in the next sector with one fuel. We've been a little casual about giving it away in this run, and there haven't been any of those stores that have like 7 fuel at them. Rebel is the better of these two. Abandoned late game is very dangerous, and we can't get mind control, so we can't really easily deal with Lanius borders. Also, this gives us 2 options for Sector 7, so it's just a preferable sector to go to. Unfortunately, both of this sector has fewer stores than the Lanius sector, so it's more likely that we can't get fuel, or that we can't find a store to get fuel. But we'll just have to make do. We've got a forward scout. You have 2 options when you're fighting forward scouts in terms of hacking to stop them running away. You could hack engines, that removes all of their evade, but I'd like... Actually, I was going to say I'd like to know how many shots I need to put at piloting, but practically I need to use the flak to get rid of, shields, and then the burst 2 to hit, unless I was going to hack shields, which I don't want to do. I would need to use the burst 2 on that room. I very seriously doubt they only have level 1 piloting. So whether it's 2 or 3, I kind of need to use... I wouldn't want to whole beam that room anyway. I want to whole beam, like, these 3 rooms, or those 3 rooms. So let's hack piloting. I'll put the burst 2 on that room. At this point, we'd probably accept a crew surrender, because we are having a little bit of difficulty dealing with all these borders. As long as we can take one of these weapons out, we're basically safe. Like, they're charging this up all the way, but we'll cloak if needed. Okay, I'm gonna cloak now. They've hit 2 of the first 4. I was sort of hoping we'd dodge one of them, so I held my cloak until we saw whether that would happen. They aren't even trying to fix that, which is interesting. I slightly misfired the beam there, but it didn't matter. We got some fuel. Go down towards this nebula. If we run out of fuel, I'd like to do it in a nebula jump, because then the fleet pursuit that is forced is halved. Well, this is a fight, so that's a chance to get fuel. This is kind of dangerous. Okay, this is elevated from kind of dangerous to very dangerous, as they have hacked our shields in an asteroid field. Is that going to hack them down all the way? Looks like it. We're going to need to cloak now. I don't want this mini beam hitting something important while our shields are hacked. Or asteroids to do so either. That doesn't take the hack down completely, but it does mean they shouldn't be able to hack my shields out completely. Got our fuel back. Okay, there's a store. Do we just go there? Or do we gamble on nebula jumps? I'm gonna gamble on nebula jumps. We'll attack this ship. There, it's sensors. We'll try to not hack in this fight. We're getting a little bit low. And as long as we take one of these weapons out, we're safe. No, that has no fuel in it. Much better. At this point, we're going to do this, because that's a trivial purchase at this point, and being able to get a blue option would be very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to get one more fuel from one of these 3 jumps to be able to reach the store, but I'll gamble on doing that. It seems a reasonable gamble. Especially in a rebel sector, where there's a lot of auto scouts that you can fight. That's the opposite of obtaining fuel. They have a missile, that means we use hacking. You just go and delay this NG. Their other weapons literally can't do anything to me. It's just this missile. If I cloak now, they're likely to protect the heavy ion. Ah, damn it, they got to fire it just in time. But whatever, we took the missile now. We're even powering the artillery beam just for the sake of it. It won't ever go off, but hey, why not? Okay, we got 1 fuel. It's a little bit tight, but it's enough. If nothing else, even if we get none here, we will run out at the store. And that blue option comes up, and we get a Zoltan from it. Cool. Now, the Zoltan isn't the ideal crew member. We're going to put you in here, and I'd like to train you to be my new engines person. Shouldn't take too long to do it, and then we can move the human somewhere else to be a sort of anti-boarding type. Now we just go here. I love this ridiculous mismatch between the resource we're never using and the ones we actually are. Sell that. I'd have considered that crew, but we just had a drop, so we won't do that. I'd like the auto-reloader. I want all of this. I want all of those. I want that. It's still not as healthy on fuel as I would like to be, but we'll survive. Let's do that. It gives us a buffer, and we want weapons 8 next anyway. So. This exit is in a terrible location. We're diving. We can get like a bunch of extra beacons by diving. We probably don't find another store because this is a rebel sector, but whatever. We're gonna hit just as much as we possibly can down on the bottom side. We might go to the exit to see a lot of this, and also to get whatever encounter is there, but we will then dive past the exit. Oh, this fight is dangerous. We definitely hack here. If we were able to put a hull breach, we could possibly, like, if we could then breach these 2 rooms, use the asteroid to get our Zoltan all the way up, but not risking that here. And we can't do it anyway. I could swap the 2, but then I wouldn't have 100% evade, and I wouldn't have the evade against the asteroids and the combat drone and all that stuff. Okay, now we can swap. We'll do that, and this way they'll like die the next time we shoot at them. And we'll take the time between now and whenever they get that missile back to grind more dodges. We won't get all of them. You get lulls in the asteroid field, like it looks like there's one here. And they're unfortunately repairing their weapons while that's going on. Yeah, there they go. I somewhat mishandled my beam there, but it didn't matter. I hate on intruder drones. This fight is basically trivial unless this like lands. If it lands in weapons, it's very, very bad. If it lands in shields, it's not good, but it's not as bad. I'll hold off on hacking until I see what that does. Okay, it's gonna land over on the side of the ship. It doesn't matter too much. We'll try to not hack. Took the missile down. We can now punch this thing at our leisure. You just fix that. You get out of there. No. Get our weapons up. Power next. But yeah, we're in very good shape. We go here and then there and then jump past. Yeah, we'll do that. Sadly, we don't get the Federation base quest, which is usually a pretty good reward. Yeah, we're gonna go here, there, 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 and then back out. Lead them to the destination. Actually, we can't do that. We didn't have quite as many jumps as I thought. Whatever. 2 jumps is still pretty good. Or at least it would have been if either of them had been a fight. still, we'll be fine. We need to kill the dive ship if we don't want to run out of fuel immediately in Sector 7. That doesn't necessarily mean we stick around to kill it, it depends on what it has. But it's definitely something to bear in mind. No, I didn't save your crew position. I'm gonna let this go off because I want my crew in position and at full health. Like, we just got a full repair, I don't care if we take a point of damage or two. But I do care if, say, my fighting crew don't have max HP and my doors person isn't indoors, and that leads to bad stuff happening with boarding. We have got our drones back up to a somewhat more reasonable rate. Okay, we can kill this ship. This isn't very dangerous at all. I don't think we even need to hack it. Only 3 shields against 6 shots and double beams. And we cloak the ASB and we'll knock that Vulcan off long before it ever does anything valuable. Cloak now. Kind of looked like we had cloaked early there, but not quite. Let's hit shields twice. Let's get a bubble down. Get our fuel. Engineer Zoltan. Zoltan is quite dangerous, and we don't have a counter to the border place. Let's go, NG. I think we'd have been fine regardless, but... This quest could be a store, but I mean, we have to jump here and then potentially just run out of fuel. We get our blue option from our scrap recovery arm. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't give you fuel. So we are out. We do get a bunch of scrap, but we'll have to turn our distress beacon on. I don't think I've ever seen this event before, and I'm certainly doing that. Oh no, it's a pirate ship! Don't give me a chance to earn scrap as well as trading. Yeah, honestly, I'd do this fight, this event. I'd give up the missile for this event, even if I wasn't out of fuel. We're mostly safe here. We're not completely safe, but we might actually just knock one weapon off and then train our Zoltan all the way. Cloak just to be 100% sure. Yep. I would have preferred to take the heavy ion down instead of the laser 2, but whatever. You go there, you go there. Unfortunately, they're going to cloak, which delays them shooting at us, and all of that nonsense. We could crew kill this ship by hacking O2, but whatever. Since this is a scripted event, you probably don't get a particularly better reward for crew killing anyone. Their weapons are probably desynced enough at this point that the odds of me getting hit are sort of nil. I need 9 dodges. You do that. I mean, I could just buy an extra bit of engines and then I'd have 100% evade even without cloaking. Let's find out. Do I dodge the first? No, so I cloak in case these two line up. They didn't, but whatever. I didn't know that. Whee, more evade. More evade. Let's have a look around as well. We've spotted the store. Do we go there next? Think about that. Probably yes. More dodging. Three more. Unfortunately, we've hit a bit of a bad streak here in terms of actually dodging anything. But we only need one more. I cloaked that because their weapons were actually all lined up there. They might have actually damaged me. Just one more, Allison. Unfortunately, she's kind of forgotten how to do it. She'll get it again. It's like 7 or 8 shots in a row at least that have hit. There we go. Now we start crushing these fools. No. You didn't want me to kill you. You should have thought of that before you offered me fuel. And then attacked me. Yeah, so we got we gave up 1 missile there, and we got 6 fuel. We got 2 missiles back, and a drone, and got 54 scraps. That seems like quite a powerful out of fuel event. We could go to the store, but actually I think it works better if we go distress first and then up towards it, rather than, I suppose we go store, quest, distress, and then east. That's the other option. Do we have enough time to get here? I mean, it's not the end of the world if we don't. We do. Okay, we do that. Long-range scanners in Sector 7 is, you know, a thing we could do. Doesn't feel worth it. I don't usually turn long-range scanners down, but it's like, we're in an NG sector, there's no fights to damn well find, and Sector 8 is a complete crapshoot anyway. I've been tracking my stats with the long-range scanners, and you do consistently get more scrap in both over the run as a whole. You get significantly more. I found about 300 more. And you do get more scrap in individual sectors. But Sector 8, I've not found there's any difference at all. Just because you're so dependent on just what beacons get taken over. And that's not affected by the scanners. So I'm going to ignore that. Wow, this exit sucks. We're probably going to do a big dive. Let's get more fuel then. Yeah, I'll like hit a bunch of these, scroll around, eventually go up. Like, if we can jump back to here, we would only need to dive, like, at most 2, maybe 3 times. That's acceptable when we're as strong as we are. Let's do this without hacking. Okay, maybe that was a mistake. We do this, they should just die. Let's get cloaking up, let's get hacking up, let's get a bit more power. Get one more power. Yeah, distress beacons in NG sectors when you have NGs are pretty good. Try to shield their ship. Yeah, we took damage. No, we're not risking our crew against giant alien spiders. Should we literally just hit every one of these jumps? If we hit every one of these jumps back here, we will have to dive 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I'll think about that, or I might abort the dive early. Our fuel is a little bit low. Well, we'll do that, but that's a not very valuable jump. We actually can't hit every jump back here anyway, but we'll hit as many of them as we can. Even if we have to kill all the ships, it's fine. Oh, we got fuel, so we're good. And we'll go to this store, sell that defensive drone, buy enough fuel that we can afford to run away. One moment. Alright, we are back. We finally found a store that has a lot of fuel now that we don't really need it. We'll get a bit more because we might as well, to make sure we can run away if we need to. I'm not going to go there because that would require me to dive again. Should I get higher cloaking? Yeah, do that. We'll get level 8 shields in the next sector, although we don't really need it. We can win with the shields we have. We're going to hack that missile so that it doesn't get to fire. And that way we can preserve our cloak for the ASB, which is more important. We won't get the full benefit of these beam swipes, unfortunately, I think. Oh no, maybe we do. I was worried they would recharge the shields in time, but they did not. Cloak. Yes, board this random room that's extremely easy to vent and far away from anything important. That seems like a grand idea. We're gonna cloak this because I want to actually kill these two before I jump away. They're gonna likely board me again every single dive, so I ideally want to clear off any borders from the previous event first. And away we go. So that was dive number 1, we're completely fine. Dive number 2, unfortunately, also has a fast missile, so we're once again going to hack weapons. But at this point, we've replenished our drone stocks enough that we can afford to hack every single one of these dives and it'll be fine. Unfortunately, this Vulcan will make it difficult for us to knock the missile offline, but it's fine. If we have to take 1 or 2 missiles, it's not the end of the world. Wow, we even did knock it offline. You get out of there. Cloak now. I think that still cloaks it. Yep. Here, unfortunately, I think we might knock the Vulcan off and not the big missile. Not the little missile. Let's see. We leave them with exactly 4 power. Maybe they won't do that. Which this would in fact do. Oh, we hit them with laser shots. Oh well. Whatever, they hit a random empty room. We'll once again, kill this guy, heal up. You stay in there healing, and you go in the doors while we jump away. I'm normally reticent to have people in the med bay when you jump out, just in case the next enemy has hacking and they hack the med bay, but Rebel dive ships never have hacking, so that can't happen. Just so you notice, that sound effect playing, that means this ASB is going to hit. If we just jump out now, it doesn't actually hit us. The animation needs to finish playing, so you can sort of stick around and see, oh, am I just going to dodge this without having the cloak? Do we bother hacking here? Let's just hack their shields and make this fight easier. Cloak now. We're gonna blow them up with this volley. And we'll hang around until our cloak is as near as being off cooldown as we can get it. which apparently is all the way. Last dive. That could be a Hermes missile. If it's a breach missile, we would cloak both of them at the same time, but I don't know which it is. So I'm going to hack. Ideally, it is a breach missile, because we could cloak the breach missile, the Flak 2, and the ASB basically all on the same thing, because I don't know. And especially because they've done that. Yeah, that's a Hermes missile, not a breach missile. It's charging too fast to be a breach. So we need to hack that down, otherwise that could come in and hit my cloaking or something, and that'd be very bad. Well, we're not going to have 100% evade or anything close to it, because they've boarded me in both piloting and engines, and I can't kill them fast enough to dislodge them. Unfortunately, we didn't take that missile out. I'm going to swap who is tanking here, because I do not want these guys to hit my pilot with an ASB and kill them the way that, you know, I lost a Zoltan in a previous run. In fact, let's just do this, since I don't get the benefit of my pilot at the moment anyway. I might as well not have them in the room. Maybe that's not so correct. Okay, we didn't quite have 100% evade there because our rock wasn't back in time, but whatever. We won't bother killing this ship. Let's just use our cloaking to charge our ASB, and then we get out of here. That dive was pretty much worth it. It wasn't the best dive I've ever had, but, you know, we didn't take any damage as a result of it, really. And we just had to spend some drones, which we could afford. So we want about 200 and something scrap to get shields up and buy the power we need for it. And then we'll get like some damage buffers and things like that. Needless to say, we will not be upgrading the artillery. We can't afford that stuff. Like, we ideally want to get this, which is 180, 2 more power, which is 70, upgrade oxygen and bed and doors. And there we're already looking at like 300 scrap, which I sometimes get in Sector 8, but sometimes I get much less. Hit a repair station. Give me guaranteed drones. We want to store. No. That forces us to jump back. We could sell the defensive drone there, but it's only 25 scrap. Ideally, we find one of those events where you get a double reward at Sector 8. We only need level 1 cloak for that. Take all that crud down. One shot. We're going to save our scrap until near when we get to the base, because we might end up not getting the max level of shields, and if we don't, I don't want to like waste scrap on it ahead of time. I only want to do that if I can actually afford it. Well, we've already seen the store and know that it's been taken over. In Sector 8, it's still worth going to jumps at sea a lot, though. Not so much because you'll see anything valuable, but just because it gives you the most options for where to jump to next in case things get taken over. So let's go here. Let's try to crew kill this ship. It's not very dangerous. And I think this is one of the not enough time events. So if we don't crew kill, we might well get really bad scrap. No taking out my O2 hack. cloak that, because that lines up fairly well with this at first. Go and heal. I'd like to knock one of these two lasers out. If we can do that, we're completely safe. Unfortunately, we didn't do that. I particularly want to knock that laser off. But they have just been dodging like crazy, so I guess not. I mean, they are starting to suffocate over there. They have 3% oxygen on their ship. They're going to get that fixed exactly once. And as long as we can actually take the shields down here, which seems to be a bit of a tall ask against this ship. Well, you might be able to dodge, but you can't dodge a level 302 hack. Okay, they just all died anyway. That wasn't a particularly great reward, even with the crew kill. That was, what, 46 scrap, I think it said? Let's try to hit, like, these 4 beacons. Down near the base. Scrap. We should be safe here. Since it would take too long to hack the shields at this point, let's just try to take it down without doing that. Okay, it didn't work. There we go. Auto scout fights in Sector 8 are not bad to see because you know they're not enough time events, so you're not going to get, you know, 25 scrap for killing them. You'll get an actual reward. Yeah, that's much more like it. Okay, 1 beacon got taken over, but we might be able to hit these 2. I'm going to wait for 1 more reward before deciding whether to get. This might be a not enough time event, but I'm not risking it with this big missile and with their hack as well. Let's see what they're hacking. Yeah, that's kind of nasty. But it's not long enough to stop us cloaking the missile, which is all we need to do. And maybe we don't even need to do that. Didn't mean to vent that room. Got him. 48, and yeah, we will go there, but we do have enough now to do this, because we can do that, and we'll be able to get our doors up before the final phase, which is all we need. These weapons don't crew kill stuff, particularly, so we're not going to have... We might take 1 or 2 out by, like, getting shots into shields or something, but, like, we have no mind control. Yes, we'd love to scout the sector when we're literally right next to the end of the game. They got 2 weapons that shoot lots of shots. I'd ideally cloak both of them, but I can't. So I'll cloak the flak too. Yeah, we kind of could actually cloak both of them. Beams. We are now totally safe. Yeah, beams that you can actually control are way better than the artillery beam, which is why I've bothered to upgrade onto these, and I've never bothered to upgrade that. No, we're not accepting a 33 scrap surrender in Sector 8, for God's sake. Let's do that as well. And from here on, we'll just try to get more power. So we might upgrade the med bay. I'll think about that. Probably it's power we want. So phase 1, let's see what they're hacking. O2, that doesn't really matter. We just run level 2 and we're fine. Cloak that, they cannot hit me. So the pike beam shot you want to do is this. There's a 9 damage hull beam swipe that I can never remember where it is. I think it might be like... Is it like this? I have a feeling it's like... Or maybe it's this. It's that! But honestly, I'd rather hit missiles. This reduces my overall damage to 7 instead of 9. But honestly, we kill on the second volley anyway, and that's what matters more than the actual amount of damage. And just keep making sure that this thing goes down. It was going to go down anyway. Actually, that stopped us one-shotting it, so I guess maybe it was better to... I don't often have setups where I have multiple 2 power beams. I'm used to having like a halberd beam if I go this sort of beam setup. Scrap recovery arm actually got us enough extra scrap there to get us to the point where we could decide what we want to upgrade here. Let's just get power. For this phase, we can open all the internal doors. We probably don't get another... We might get enough thanks to the recovery arm to get sensors up, but like that doesn't really matter even if we do. And there's a good chance we don't. You two get in there. Let's just hit their best rooms, since I'm not going to kill regardless. Although actually, if I do this, that's 7. Yeah, hit the rooms that are important. It's, you know, second volley still kills. We've taken the missiles down. Let's use real power just in case. Let's do the 9 beams, damage beam swipe because we can. Yep, 23 plus 2. Go scrap recovery on. Providing incredible value, such as level 2 sensors at the very end of the game. So, let's preemptively vent a few rooms. Someone's gonna get mind controlled. We don't know who it is. It's not really a good choice. Probably the Shields NG is the least painful, or the Door Human. Normally it'd be whoever was on sensors, but that's a Mantis who has, I think, max combat skill. Sort of tempted to just put the Mantis in a random room so I can immediately vent him if he does that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Put him there. If he turns traitor... Actually, if he turns traitor there, he's going to immediately run into weapons, isn't he? That's not a good idea. Let's put him here. That way, if he turns traitor, he'll run right into sensors. Not into sensors, into artillery. We'll go fight them away, and that way we can do the runaway trick if we need to. There's no point having this power and hacking right now. Okay, Shields NG is not too bad. The one downside is it will cause their crew, if they board onto us, to like go towards my shield room, which is not good. And they've landed right next door. That's quite bad. So start venting that room and see if we can run them out and force them to come to us in the med bay. They got 1 point off, unfortunately. Now, can I maybe do this without damage? I think the answer is no. Although we will dodge the power surge as well as the missile artillery. Need to get you out of there because I don't want to actually kill my NG. Now you get back in there because I don't want them to kill my NG either. That might mess my... This may actually mess my weapon timing off enough that this hack is wrong. Or at least slow it down enough that they can get these missiles off because I lose the weapon charge here. Since it's going to be 2 volleys regardless here, let's do that. Ah, you just got that off, you little bastards. Go help out weapons NG. Ah, we take 1 damage. Actually, we might take more anyway, because it looks like they're going to get a power surge without my my cloak up, and we only have 3 shields right now. Yeah. Yeah, we took quite a bit of damage there. And they mind controlled our pilot here. Whatever, they're dead. Zoltan, get out of there. So, that's back in the win column. Eat this fool. Our engines will also burn out, but whatever. You two get in there. And we win this very, very comfortably. We had some very good early sectors with a lot of drops, so it was not a particularly challenging run. Score a little bit below 6,000. That's pretty decent for a run where we never got long-range scanners. The extra scrap we got from scrap recovery arm does not count towards that score, by the way. Yeah, we got a lot of beacons. That's possibly because we had some big nebulas in that like early civilian sector and stuff, and we also took a few silly dives because we were strong enough to pull it off. So that's run number 1 done. Let's find out who's up next. 3, 2, 1, and go. Kestrel C, cool. It's been ages since I played this ship. It just hasn't been coming up in my It hasn't been coming up when I just random it. So we'll look forward to that in the next run, and I will see you then for Kestrel C. Goodbye for now.